Right, best of 5 Ferry Peak versus Alpha. I think right now Alpha might be rank 1. Is he rank 1? Oh no, Ferry Peak retook it. Ferry stole his points. Alpha was rank 1 yesterday and Ferry was like 4th or 5th. Looks like they've matched up a few times in ranked. And Ferry's stolen all his points. So now Ferry Peak is rank 1. Of course. What a surprise.
L underscore.
Alright, now we can't listen, return. We can't be having L underscores right now. As much as I would love to hear Brian finish that donation message. We might have to come back to it later. It's Ferry Peak versus Alpha, game 1 of a best of 5. And good strong start for Ferry Peak. Not the best flick, but he's got Alpha in an awkward position here. Neutralizes a 50-50. And looks like he will be scoring. He's going to dunk it in. This did end up being a bit harder than it initially looked it would be. But Ferry Peak gets the job done as usual. 1-0. Now, Alpha and Ferry Peak have played on stream in the past. It was actually part of Ferry Peak's crazy win streak. Alpha lost at some point to Ferry during that crazy long win streak. And it was a 3-0 win for Ferry. So Alpha's looking for anything better than that would be a good start. But of course he wants the W. He said he's going to get his revenge today. Not only for that loss against Ferry all that time ago, but also for Ferry stealing his ranked points in 1v1. Well, there's 2-1 for Alpha. He's responded well to Ferry's early lead. Just saw the opening and took it. It's a good flick by Alpha. Ferry Peak was off to the side getting boost. Didn't expect Alpha to shoot that quickly. I'll catch up on all the alerts that I've missed when this show match is over, or if these guys are taking a while to ready up between games. We'll see what happens. I do appreciate all of the alerts, guys. You are far too kind, as usual. Alpha got Ferry in a bit of a rough spot here, although he does survive. That was close for Ferry to a position he could have been conceding in. Beautiful flick, though. Top corner for Ferry, and he'll equalize the game.
THX for the amazing content as always, Johnny Boy.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome, Brian. I appreciate you as well. Now, so far, there's been a focus on flick game from both players, but, excuse me, I don't know what that was. Focus on flick game for both players, but it's not really been ball carrying into flicks. It's just been one touch and then flicks. And there it is again from Ferry. One touch flick, not setting up with the ball carry for too long. And it's showing you how effective these early flicks can be in the middle of a bounce dribble. You don't need to stand or sit with the ball on top of your car, drive in slowly, and then flick it from close range to catch an opponent off guard. Both Alpha and Ferry are very good at just these little bounce dribbles and then a quick pick-up flick. There's another one by Ferry. Oh my goodness. Well, Alpha did give him a lot of space for this one, but still, that is pretty perfect execution by Ferry Peak. Top corner at the far side of the goal. Alpha can't even get close to it. 4-2 for Ferry. Alpha needs more ball pressure if he's going to keep this one close. Can't give Ferry this much space. Ferry's just going to bang in a kickoff goal. 5-2. Game 1 is going pretty badly so far for Alpha54. I didn't see, obviously, the ranked games that they played earlier today, I imagine, as I looked at the ranked leaderboard last night, and I think Alpha was still rank 1 at that point. But yeah, neither of these guys stream on Twitch usually, so we didn't get to catch those games live. But, you know, they must have been close if Alpha has felt confident enough to call out the show match. He did actually, he asked me today, he said, can he 1v1 Ferry? He wants to get revenge. So if he lost to Ferry overall in most of the games, which must have happened if they literally swapped places in the ranked leaderboard, they must have still been close-ish games for Alpha to feel confident enough to call out Ferry Peak. But it's not looking close right now. Ferry Peak has got another answer to Alpha's attempted awkward positioning, and a good open net finish as well. Just typical Ferry Peak, scoring from every angle. Doesn't matter where you put him, he's probably going to find the net. And he's starting to not just take the lead, but take a disgusting lead. It's 5 goals now for Ferry Peak, and Alpha looking shaky. He's looked so good recently on stream, mostly in 1v1, but right now he's looking pretty dodgy, is Alpha. A couple of touches aren't good enough when you're playing against a player like Ferry. giving away the possession. There's a delayed touch by Ferry. He's air dribbled it in with a dunk. We see this from him so often now that it's not even a surprise. He deliberately dodges way behind the ball and then just starts air dribbling it. Why not? 8-2, and there's still more than half the game to go. Alpha's in trouble, guys. He is absolutely in trouble. Somebody was asking me before this game started today, do I think Alpha's the best player in the world? And I said, I don't think there's any best player in the world right now, especially for 3v3, with RLCS being quite distant, the new season about to start. But these guys are both certainly two of the best players in the world. When it comes to 1v1, Three-Peat is just on another level. Does this man ever miss? What is happening right now? Every single time he touches the ball, it's just a boomer that's too difficult to save. 10-2. Alpha is going to need to step it up if he's going to have any chance here. And it doesn't look like he's going to get any rest anytime soon. Three-Peat still looking threatening on most of the kickoffs. I don't think Alpha's making a comeback in this first game, but you know, the series is still a long one. He's got some time to figure out what to change, what on earth to do. Let's try and put Ferry out of his comfort zone. Ferry's slowly wrong-footing Alpha here, and that's going to make it so difficult to get a good clear ball while saving it. Alpha does just that, though. He's knocked it in an awkward enough spot that Ferry couldn't shoot before the recovery came in for Alpha. That's a goal for Alpha as well. Early pop, Three-Peat out the game. Looks like Alpha might have been trying to set up an air dribble bump. He didn't have to, though, as Three-Peat dove in, anticipating more of a slow play from Alpha. I would love to see these two in a team sometime in the future. I feel like they could help each other a lot with their gameplay. Just another French power team. There's already been quite a few in the past for Rocket League. I think an all-French team just qualified for RLRS, if I'm not mistaken. So there's even more French players up and coming in EU. 10-3, Three-Peat. Delayed flick. Not really much change on the ball's direction for that one, though. Now Alpha sneaks in, and it looks like he's going to get a fourth goal. Well played by Alpha. This is a very, very sneaky goal as Three-Peat is trying to dribble the ball back into his own half. He didn't realize that Alpha was just going to overtake him and roll the ball into the goal. So there we do have another goal for Alpha. Is the comeback possible? I mean, with strong enough kickoffs, it would be possible, but I just don't see Three-Peat losing enough kickoffs for it to be a realistic opportunity for Alpha. Three-Peat with a boost advantage is going to roll in another goal and open the gap up to 7 yet again. Extra, Risual, and Swoopin. Yeah, there you go. Another full French team, which is pretty cool to see. I love seeing like teams in 3v3 that are all the same nationality. I mean, in America this happens quite a lot, but in Europe it's more rare. Most of the teams are a bunch of different nationalities, but we've got Method in RLRS, or a full Dutch team, and now whatever that team is called, I don't know what they're called, Extra, Rizzle, and Swoop, and I don't know what their team's called, but they're a full French team. Are there any other full like single nationality teams in RLCS or RLRS? Forgetting USA and Australia, because those, of course, in their regions are hugely representative of the server that they're playing on. You know, OCE is mostly, like, vastly mostly Europeans. I mean, Australians. Just like South America is mostly Brazilians, and NA is mostly Americans. Europe is different. A full New Zealand team from OCE, or a full team that's not Brazilian from, like maybe a full Argentinian team, that would be pretty rare. From South America, maybe a full American team or NA team that's all Canadian. Does that ever happen in RLCS? I don't know if it is. Vikings, full Danish. Oh yeah, so we got full Danish, full Dutch, and full French in RLRS this year, which is pretty cool. I like that. There we go, 1-0 Three-Peat. It was a good air dribble to finish off the game for Alpha, but he's going to get no more than consolation here, as Ferry is on fire. His accuracy has been impeccable. There's a couple of shots that he missed. I think there was a kickoff goal that he missed at one point, but no. Is 1400 a new record? Oh no, 1400 is pretty far off the sub-record actually, because I think it was September or October last year going to say October, start of October, I think we actually had 2,500 subs and over 3,000 sub points go on. So that was the record by a fair margin. I don't know how that happened. It was like crazy peak of subs. You know, still, I think we're at 1,400 right now. That's also a crazy amount of subs. That's a big overcommit by Ferry. Should be a goal by Alpha, but he's taking his sweet time with it. Now he's realized just how out of position Ferry is. Tries to hurry up. Well, he was too slow to get the play started. Should still be a goal, surely. No, Three-Peat keeps one out. Can he get another? No, the recovery's too slow. Alpha puts it in. 1-0 to Alpha54. I think we're probably at a sub record on Twitch for this year, because we lost a lot of subs when we were doing the Manfield Night 5K on Twitch, because they were all Twitch premieres and people don't really subscribe when you're Twitch premiering rather than live streaming. And then we've been kind of climbing back up ever since then in January, February, March. April, I think we're peaking for the year, so that's pretty cool. ARG full Spanish. Oh yeah, we got 4 full like single nationality teams in RLRS. That's awesome. It's almost like World Cup over there. Ferry peak another pretty heavy commit. This is interesting that Ferry is going in so aggressively in offense. You see he's putting himself in some really difficult positions afterwards as Alpha tries to get the bump. He doesn't hit it, but Ferry doesn't hit the ball. It's 2-0 Alpha54. Both goals following super aggressive all-in moves by Ferry. That's either confidence or carelessness. Only time will tell. I think so far it's a bit of both from Ferry. He wants to give some tough shots a go after how well game 1 went, but also might just let his guard down a little bit after how easily he dispatched with Alpha in the first game. Never, of course, want to count Ferry out of a match. Good respawning boost grab by Alpha, and also glad to see him not turn around and challenge this. You can't turn and expect to beat Ferry to a ball he's already facing. He's just too quick, too direct, too confident, especially with his quick aerial play in ones. Three-Peat, straight linear dribble, and he does have a bit of an angle. He tries to get it, but the back post saves Alpha. That shows the difficulty that even a player like Three-Peat has hitting those angles when you're dribbling too straight. He's going to loop around and boom in a wall shot though. I don't think Alpha was ready for Ferry to turn on this, but it's just so quick by Ferry. He's up the wall in a flash, already off and smashing the ball on target. Alpha was no doubt expecting the ball to stick a bit closer to the wall so he could start up a wall play of sorts. Looks like he's just sat on Ferry, and that's going to roll in. Three-Peat almost saved it, but Alpha has scored without having to hit the ball a second time after the kickoff. He just dodges into Ferry's way then watches the ball roll in. 3-1. Strong performance so far in game 2 by Alpha54. It's that one misplay that led to Ferry scoring, but the rest of the game has been mostly him looking like the more controlled player out of the two. Three-Peat rarely looks like the player who's flopping around, but this game he has certainly been the floppier of the two, as his car once again goes past the ball. A little bit too aggressive by Ferry. He was looking to surprise Alpha with a challenge. Alpha had him in plain sight, so it's hard to surprise him when he can see you coming. No kickoff goal this time for Ferry. Alpha, soft ball clear. He's got to quickly get back into net. I don't know if this is a good idea to grab the boost. Indeed it is not. Three-Peat's going to score, and Alpha should be going back to net here rather than grabbing the mid boost. He just doesn't have the time to take that extra few steps towards the midfield line. What is everybody spamming? Or Chad. Why is everybody spamming Jesse emotes? I love Jesse's emotes. They're so good. Pre-jump save by Alpha. Look at that. So he puts the pressure back on Ferry. Why are you? Does Jesse really say chat like Chad? Is this how he pronounces Chad? I know he does struggle with some words with T in them. I also love, wait, this is a Jesse emote, right? This is amazing how much of a crossover myself and Jesse have with subscribers. This is so refreshing to see that my subs have chosen to sub to another good streamer and not just an e-thought. Brilliant stuff, boys. I'm proud of you. This is like honestly one of the proudest moments as I look over at my Twitch chat. Keep it up. 3-4 meanwhile. Ferry keeping this one as close as he can. Good aerial play by Alpha. Almost catching Ferry off guard there. Ferry just trying to kill some time. It looks like he will level out the boost advantage that Alpha had there. Good bump off the back wall. Alpha catches Ferry off guard, but Ferry peeks right back into a normal position. No big deal. Almost had an opening there. In fact, he might still. Alpha with a good save and recovery. He's quickly getting back into position. He doesn't want to let Ferry peek turn. Shoot before Alpha can make one more touch on the ball. Air roll shot goes way wide and slow for Alpha. Ferry peek looking cunning, looking deadly. Where is the equalizer? As Ferry peek is trying to set up the backflip flick. He's overdone it just a little bit there. It's just corked that one a little bit too high. Alpha didn't want to commit. He knew Ferry was trying to get him to jump forward out of position so he could shoot that one over his head behind him. But speaking of, Ferry is going to equalize. Passes it to himself off the sidewall. And although this time Alpha did go back to goal and he tried to get into position to make a save, it just happened so fast that he couldn't get in the way of the ball in time. Great kickoff by Alpha. This is going to give him strong play. Ferry peek is pretty boost starved at the moment. Alpha looks for the top corner. He's missed the air roll shot. Landing is good, but opportunity goes astray for Alpha. Now he's the one who's struggling for boost. Ferry peek mind games him underneath. And just like that, Ferry peek's back in front. Alpha led for the entire game. All it took was one slow play from Ferry. Now he has a 1-goal lead. 27 seconds left. Alpha needs to respond. That's 4 goals in a row for Ferry. Although they weren't banging in quite as regularly and as quickly as they were in the first game, they did get the job done eventually. Alpha in his last seconds here. Ferry peek just going to pressure the ball. He doesn't have much boost, but he doesn't need it. So put some pressure on Alpha. More time wasted by Ferry. Looks like he's got yet another touch on the ball. So many touches here by Ferry, wasting the clock. And Alpha will still respond. 1 second left. He finally gets Ferry peek to stop touching the ball. And he makes good on the flick from close range. Top corner. Beautiful stuff from Alpha54. And a game where he's got to be feeling pretty bad about losing that huge lead that he had in the first place. Hang on, it might not be done. Alpha has gone and shanked his kickoff goal way wide. And Ferry peek's trying to keep it up. Actually, so is Alpha. Wave dash is in a position. This might not be over just yet. Ferry peek just looks for the ground. Doesn't want to give Alpha an opening to score. And into overtime we go. Game 2. Must-win game for Alpha if he wants to keep this series close. Reverse sweep against Ferry peek. Something that I don't think has ever been achieved in a 1v1 series. Good position here for Alpha. Got Ferry exactly where he wants him, but Ferry peek's gone for another awkward touch. Is this one going to work out? Yes, it is, because Ferry's backed off fast. Avoids the danger of being demoed. There's Ferry's plays. Still dribbling very, very straight at Alpha this match. It's something that I think he could do a bit better, but even with his direct dribbling, he's causing problems for Alpha, making it as awkward as possible. Alpha's got to be careful with these midfield boost grabs. Almost takes himself out of position again. Going to try and sneak in a demo. No, just a pinch center ball to waste some time from Alpha. Ferry peek switches sides, continues to dominate the boost control. This time he will try and switch Alpha over. Alpha spotted that and cut in early. He didn't want to give Ferry peek space to start a run up to a hook shot. This is still such an awkward game for Alpha. Ferry peek is making it really difficult with these just little touches, wasting so much time, causing Alpha to use a lot of boost just to get back into position. Perfect dodge though by Alpha. Hits the balls to safety and grabs boost in the process. He's even able to follow up on his touch. He calls Ferry's bluff on the no challenge. Ferry peek running back, pinches it off his own post to prevent the counter attack. Overtime on a knife edge here between Alpha54 and Ferry, and into the air goes Alpha. This is bold. He looks for the bump. He gets it. Ferry peek still gets the save though. And Alpha recovers and puts it in. How has he done this? Alpha54 goes for the aerial play. It looks like Ferry peek's save was interfered with sufficiently. And Alpha ties up the series. What a game for Alpha.
Pool for 3 of them. 3 of them. 3 of them.
3 of them? What?
3 of them.
3 of what?
Just 3 of them. 3
Great
of
game.
them. 3 of them. 3 of them. 3 of them.
Yeah, there's some fantastic recoveries in Alpha's goal, especially this game. The bump did work. It did the job. Because although the ball didn't go directly into the goal, Ferry's save was interfered with. So instead of clearing the ball while saving it, Ferry only popped it. And that led to Alpha getting a free open net. Oh, speaking of, that should have been a goal for Alpha. He's thrown away. Probably the easiest chance he's going to get all game. Now he's on the wrong foot, trying to defend a Ferry bounce dribble. He does get in the way the first time. Looks like he might have a chance to do so again, but Ferry centered it for himself. Look at this from Three-Peat. How does he come up with these ideas? I don't know. He just double touched this off a high bounce on the back wall. 19 seconds into the game, Ferry takes the lead. Yeah, it's a best of 5, no doubt. We're always going to be going at least 5 with these guys. They wanted to do 5 when I asked as well. Alpha just changes up his plan here. Initially he was trying to go a bit higher, I'm sure, but wanted to come back down low after his touch was a little bit weaker. Looks like in the long run it's not going to work out, because look at that trip by Ferry. That all he needed there was to cut across Alpha's path just ever so slightly and interfere with him. He was trying to get back into his own half. That gave him enough time to score. The last game that Alpha won, this game restarted well, and he had a good lead early on. Three-Peat was playing a bit careless, and after Three-Peat started playing a bit more solid, it looked closer.
Your commentary and accent is awesome as well.
My accent. I'm glad that you like the accent. It's cheeky by Alpha. 0 boost.
This is Rocket League.
Still gets a flick over Ferry. Look at that. It's literally 0 boost for Alpha, but perfectly pops it. That's really well done. I mean, the 0 boost flick plays are pretty nerve-wracking at the best of times, but when you're trying to get it over Ferry and you know he has 100 boost or something similar, you've got to be hitting that, or else you're just getting scored on. Alpha on the run to get back into his half. Three-Peat will seal the boost and threaten a demo in the process. Another awkward touch from Ferry, which accomplishes a lot. Alpha is going to try and shoot long. Decides not to. Re-jump into the air here. Respect for Three-Peat's aerial speed. Three-Peat just looking for that opening to shoot into an open net. He's playing his angles a lot better this second game as Ferry. The last one, look out for the demo. Alpha will escape it. Ferry again refuses to just run back into his own half. He's constantly turning early on the ball when he knows Alpha is looking for some time to control it. Boost sealed by Alpha54. Great long shot, securing him that advantage, but Three-Peat again knows when he can pressure the ball without being in too much danger. Now that's a decent shot by Ferry, but Alpha is going to get in the way of it. You'll notice that these long shots and high shots that both players are taking are netting them heavy boost advantages. So this extended period of boost starvation that Alpha is currently experiencing, it all comes from that one shot that Ferry took about 20 seconds ago now. Looks like Alpha will level out the boost advantage though. Three-Peat will have to try from a different angle. He doesn't have any angle though. Another straight dribble by Ferry, and Alpha's hiding behind the ball. Manages to put a challenge in. He's almost missed another open net. Alpha's got to be careful with these. I mean, he wanted to put it in as quickly as possible because he knew Three-Peat would be coming back, but he had a bit more time than that. He doesn't need to shoot that that early, I should say. You know, very quiet, very back and forth game 2. Alpha has brought it into a level game. Now double bump onto Ferry. He's out of position momentarily, and own goals on the recovery. Alpha54 forcing the misplay from Three-Peat. Not one bump, but twice. Three-Peat decides to try and backflip into position. He's trying to hit the post with the ball. It just ends up being a great team play. Alpha up by 1. Looking really good while doing it as well. He hasn't had to pop off yet, which is a crazy thing. I mean, he's played really well, but he hasn't had to do anything too crazy, and this is new territory because usually to beat Three-Peat you have to pop off. I think in the grand final of the Manfield Night 5K, Scrub Killer absolutely popped off that series. I think the one time OSM beat him, definitely a pop off. Some of the best I've ever seen OSM play. Right now, Alpha, he is just playing solid. He's playing Three-Peat's game and he's actually beating him at it at times. Still though, so close. It could go either way. 2 minutes left. Boost advantage swings in Alpha's favor yet again. Three-Peat's trying to stay with this one, but he's lost control. Alpha's got him in a super awkward position. Three-Peat getting a lot of angles covered with his position there, and gets a bump onto Alpha. That's 2 actually, and a goal for Ferry will follow. Alpha stepping over the mark here just a little bit. I think he was trying to beat Ferry to the boost in the corner by dodging over him, but by doing so he kind of screwed himself over because he landed on Ferry and tripped himself up. And that does lead to Three-Peat getting a pretty free goal, relatively. Smart fake challenge by Ferry. He's pretending to ball chase there. And Alpha tried to counter it by turning around and shooting on target. Ferry turned to save the on-target shot. I'll tell you something else that Alpha's done really well this game is not let too many low 50-50s go in, and wow, he's really close to nailing that bump. In fact, he got it, and the mind game is there as well. Three-Peat still refuses to let the ball go in. Now both players playing low boost economy play. Three-Peat lets it bounce close, and there is the top corner shot. Alpha, not enough ball pressure, gave Three-Peat all the space.
I'm skeptical,
Three-Peat doesn't let these chances go away too often. He could have fired early, of course. I mean, Alpha is in a really bad spot. Brian, why are you skeptical? Why are you so skeptical, Brian? I was going to say that Alpha didn't really have many like solid plays that he could have made in that last exchange, but I would prefer something involving an early challenge or just a pre-jump. Like maybe Three-Peat fakes him, maybe Three-Peat shoots early and gets it past you, but I think leaving Ferry to just walk up to your goal and then blast it in at close range is pretty much giving yourself no chance of saving the ball. So I don't know if Alpha picked the right option there. Either way, it was going to be a really difficult decision. Is Alpha going to cross over Ferry here? No, he's just going to go straight down the line. Flick it high over the net. This is awkward for Ferry. A lot of boosts being used to get that clear ball. Of course, he's grabbed another 100 in the corner, but to do so, he had to give up the possession of the ball. And here comes Alpha again. One more touch will set up the air dribble bump. And this time, Three-Peat will save it. Alpha looked pretty on point with that one. Three-Peat's such a wily coyote. It's hard to make contact with. Early challenge this time by Ferry. He's noticing that Alpha is trying to get close to his half before making plays. In the final 10 seconds, it looks like Alpha might get the last chance on net. Three-Peat backs off into the corner. He doesn't want to give Alpha space here, but space will be secured for Alpha. It's open momentarily. Not enough space for Alpha to put the ball in the net. Is he going to keep this up? No, it will hit the ground. Another overtime. 2 in a row. 5-all as well. So the kickoff goes fairly even. Alpha wins the race to the boost. That could be huge. Three-Peat's early shot is also lacking power. Now it's open. Alpha54. Can he nail the shot? Yes, he can, but Three-Peat saves it. Three-Peat gets some time to grab 100 boost. Alpha's got him in the wrong side of the goal, though. And another crazy save by Ferry. Just sets up the counter-attack, and that will be the game. Alpha54 was so close. Not once, but twice. But Three-Peat's clutch goalkeeping wins him another game. And he's 2-1 up in the series. What a series this is, though. Some of the sweatiest play we've seen from Ferry in a long time. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Instantly readying up as well. So I will catch up on all the alerts that I missed after this one is over. I don't want to keep these guys waiting between games. Johnny saying sweaty now. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, sweating for your rank points makes a lot of sense, to be honest, because you have to try that little bit harder, and you know there's probably a little bit of perspiration on controllers as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to hear. So Three-Peat's going to start off game 4 the exact same way that he started off game 2, with a little bit of a risky play, and in game 2 these things didn't really work out in his favor, and he stopped doing them and almost made the comeback. So I don't know if he's going to keep on going for these more mechanically intensive plays, are harder to execute, higher risk, obviously high reward, but you know what else is a high reward is playing safe and solid. Oh, Alpha54. It's just own gold. Top corner shot for Ferry was awkward, but certainly not a shot that Alpha should be letting in. He's just not made contact to the right part of his car. I believe he was trying to just nip it with the front end of the Octane. Instead, hit it with the back. dangerous shot for Alpha to be taking because he's super out of boost if he misses this one. And just like that, Three-Peat bangs in a long shot for the counter. This is why these half volleys after kickoffs on a defended net are so dangerous to take, because if you miss it or if it gets saved, you might just concede on the counter. It's this quick. You're against a player like Ferry. The transition from controlling the ball to putting it into your net is almost instantaneous. And once again, Alpha steps over the mark just ever so slightly, concedes by doing so. That was maybe trying to dodge into the ball by Alpha. I'm not sure if he was trying to catch it at the end of his dodge or that was just an aggressive play on the boost. In and out save being attempted by Alpha, but he's too slow. Three-Peat makes it 4-1. You know, you can kind of see the logic there for Alpha. You decided that he wasn't going to have much of a chance saving a high shot and recovering well. So he's tried to build up some speed, come off the crossbar. He just didn't have enough time to get the setup that he needed though. And Three-Peat's no doubt going to go for a trip here. Alpha's shrugged it off really well. He's going to shoot long himself. And I can't really disagree with Three-Peat's decision here either. Wow, this looked really strange. I don't know how Alpha recovered so well there, because it looked like Ferry got under him pretty good. And usually when you get under your opponent like that, their car is going to swerve to the side or fall over. But that time Alpha just didn't care. He just continued driving, got straight back into the action. Good aerial interception by Ferry. Alpha's going to grab a boost advantage in the meantime. And great demo. Look at that from Alpha. He's not done with this series just yet. There's only one goal in it. Once again. Did somebody say esports items announced? I need to take a look at that after the series is done. That sounds pretty hype. Is Three-Peat gonna try and control this Alpha, who is no doubt gonna pop off before this match is over? Or try to. Three-Peat's got Alpha on the wrong foot though, and Alpha cannot close the distance this time. At least not safely. He does. A bit courtesy of Three-Peat refusing to shoot. I'm not sure why Three-Peat didn't pull the trigger there. Usually in that position what he'll do is he'll pass it to himself off the sidewall. Pre-jump save for Alpha. Aerial shot is too far right, I think. No, it's actually going to make it in. I thought initially that Three-Peat was going to catch up with this one, but the shot, despite being a little bit too far to the right, he lost a bit of power by shooting it that far to the right. Three-Peat was so far out of position that he couldn't catch up to the ball. Three-Peat trying to get the flick after the kickoff. Alpha, oh my goodness, you want to be a little bit more careful on that, mate. Well, tell you what, he's come out with possession at 100 boost, so you can't really complain. But not the most conventional way to get it. Tries to sit on Ferry and actually scores in the process. This is crazy plays by Alpha. He's left it so late on the save just to try and take control of the situation, and pulls it off. That's a forced own goal for Three-Peat. Alpha was preventing him from jumping any earlier just by being in the air right above him. Alpha's trying to get Three-Peat to pass the ball to him here. Ferry will not. He's built the ball up to speed. Whoa, okay then. That's a flick and a half. You know, side flip flicks are pretty tough to save at the best of times, but when you got Three-Peat coming at you, supersonic 112 km/h shot leaves the front of the car. Yeah, you're not saving those too often. 5-all. Another 5-all. I feel like we've had 5-all in the last 3 games, but this time it's not 5-all overtime. We're halfway through the game. Another straight dribble by Ferry. This is really interesting. He's looking very like Cucks with these straight dribbles. And although it can work, I think he's kind of hamstringing himself almost, because he's such a good player when he gives himself an angle to utilize these sidewinder dribbles, these long straight dribbles perpendicular to the shadowing defender. They're the sort of things I associate with Three-Peat, not these straight dribbles where he kind of takes away all his angles and makes himself a bit easier to challenge. And you're seeing that his style is actually not favouring Three-Peat. I've been very critical of direct dribbling on my stream for a long time now. I feel like it gives the defender an advantage against the attacker where he might not otherwise have one. That's the element of surprise. You can just dive in from right behind the ball, and it makes it very hard for the attacker to know exactly what you've got planned. Fine game by Alpha. Three-Peat is going to recover quickly. Alpha's straight away looking to get him on the back foot. Three-Peat still applying ball pressure, but Alpha setting up dishes off the back wall is not what you want to see. if you're in Ferry Peak's shoes. This time he will switch up and try and get Alpha on the wrong foot. And although he doesn't get an immediate goal, oh, he almost did in the follow-up, but Alpha has somehow got back and saved it. I'd much rather see that from Ferry Peak than what we were seeing before. That was significantly more threatening, and all it took was a little bit of angle on the dribble. Took some great stops in defense for Alpha to keep Ferry Peak at bay. Alpha still refuses to let Ferry Peak score with a low 50-50, and he's muscled in an 8th goal. And with a minute and 1 second left, Alpha54 looks set to bring this into a game 5. That's pretty crazy, considering how recently Alpha has come back into the 1 scene. Great ball chase by Alpha here. This has got to be a good move. He doesn't want to give Ferry Peak any space to manipulate the play. This is wasting so much of the time that Ferry Peak does have left to try and get a win here. 16 boost for Ferry Peak. A little bit of an angle to work with, and that looks like it might be all he needs. Is it going to be a goal? Yes, it is. Eventually, Ferry Peak scores with the tight angle shot. It was a really nice flick from close range position by Ferry. Very close to going in directly, but you know, in the following few seconds, it looked like Alpha might have been able to keep that one out. I'm not sure. It's not on target for Alpha, so he will have to try from a different angle. Ferry Peak is going to switch it up. He's starting to include these angles into his dribbles, and he's profiting significantly compared to when he was just going straight. Alpha on the back foot almost every time that he's done these angle dribbles, side to side, or just, you know, partially out to one side. Good recovery by Alpha. That could have been an opening for Ferry, as Alpha missed his catch coming off the wall, but he knew the only way that Ferry could win the game is by ball chasing on that mistake. So he went straight into the air, popped it. By doing so, prevented himself from conceding, and wins game number 4. This is a best of 5, so the next match will be the last one. Ferry Peak and Alpha looking so similar today. A lot of saves for Alpha, which is not surprising. He does
1v1 SR
favor defensive play like this.
It's infuriating to even watch people play a 1v1 in this game.
I would tend to disagree. Oh, $50 in the line from Korax. I think we had another $3 or £3 in the line from Yehi earlier as well. So there will be cheeky little prize pool for this game 5 winner. Alpha just wants to keep some pressure on the ball to force Ferry to do something, and he's almost saved this. This was a nice shot though by Ferry. When he realized that Alpha was going up on the sidewall to position for this one, he just flies up a little bit higher and shoots low, and that placement was good enough to take the lead. 1-0 Ferry. He's a legend, going to remain clutch as we know he usually is. Wave dash shot by Alpha. Beautiful mechanics. Ferry Peak is equal to it this time, and look at that for a wall shot. Holy cow, Ferry Peak doesn't take long to set up his counters. That is crazy by Ferry Peak. He did this blind as well. Who needs ball cam to 113 km/h cross map wall shot after recovering and barely getting up the wall split seconds prior? 2-0. Alpha knows he can't give Ferry Peak any space, any time on the ball, or it's likely to be a goal. Oh no, Alpha's just own goal. He bumped Ferry away from the open net, but then scored it himself. I'm so sorry, Alpha, but we just have to see this again. What did Ferry see? That's even better from Ferry's perspective. I wonder what went through Ferry's head in those moments. He gets bumped and he's like, oh, how dare you? No open net for me. Oh, nice, he scored it. Cool. The immediate turnaround is like, no, yes, I like it. Ferry Peak is not going to dribble too straight this game by the looks of things. And although he didn't get a goal here, and he didn't get a goal every time that he dribbled diagonally at Alpha's net last game, he is not conceding possession while doing this, at least not easily. 2 direct dribbles in the end of game 4 led to Alpha scoring straight away counter-attack. And this time Ferry Peak is looking dominant. He's lining up the hook shot. He just dodges into it from the bottom corner, and Alpha has nothing to say about it. Spawning on the right side here. Gave Alpha some pretty tough angles to work with, but turning away, I don't think that gives him many chances to get the outplay. I reckon there Alpha just has to get in there and make himself as big as possible. He's hesitant. You don't want to be hesitant when you're playing against Three-Peat. He's got a good save here. Alpha just going to re-pop it. Wave dashes in to threaten Three-Peat. Maybe get him to panic on the goal line. More shots for Alpha. This time the crossbar has the save. Three-Peat was up. That's going to mean that he's in a bit lower boost than the second attack that comes in, and it is going to be a beautiful bump by Alpha. Give him his first goal in the game. Great stuff by Alpha54. He's managed to get Ferry as he comes off the wall here. And now he's finally got a goal in game 5. He's got a lot more work to do. This is going to be the toughest game that he's played all series. Good challenge by Alpha. Brave as well. This was something that was lacking in the defensive plays that were happening earlier in the match. Alpha aerial shot denied by the joint. This time will shut down Three-Peat's attempted counter. He calls the bluff on Three-Peat's challenge as well. Alpha's making some good little moves here to try and swing the advantage in his favor. This is a really favorable position for Alpha54, but Three-Peat making it look easy to get some crazy saves. Not just because he's saving this, but because he's getting so much distance on the clear. The pressure that's putting on Alpha looks like it might be insurmountable. 5-1 now, and it's just from Three-Peat's hard hits. Every single touch is a boomer for this man. Less than half a game to go. Ferry ahead by 4. Alpha's already done better than he did last time these two played. It wasn't sweet the first time. Now it's a game 5. After coming this far, of course, we'd love to get the job done. Do what so few people have done in Rocket League history. Beat Three-Peat in a series. 2 minutes left. Clock is working really well in Three-Peat's favor at the moment, and he's looking calm and composed as we approach the finish line. Alpha with a strong defensive position though. Another bump attempted, another bump landed. Alpha54 scores with another aerial bump. He's been saving a few of these, but I think that mostly Alpha has put these on target and scored with them. Only way with Bubs. Yeah, the only way he's scoring was with Bubs, but to be honest, I like that. If he can keep doing this, that could get inside Ferry's head a little. Oh my days. The flicking accuracy for Three-Peat for the Batmobile. I don't know if I can do this enough justice. Like, this is so impressive. You can just hit the top corner with a Batmobile from close range flicking. You try to do this yourself, I bet most of you are just going to hit the crossbar like flick it way too low. Like, his consistency with these is honestly so impressive. Ceiling shot does go wide though, and that might be the mistake that lets Alpha back into the match. Indeed it will. 6-3. It's a very tame ceiling shot from Ferry. One where he hit the ball pretty hard on his first touch, so it fell so far. Made it pretty hard to catch up with. Ceiling shot Three-Peat. Maybe not the thing that he's most used to doing. Certainly not something we're used to seeing him do. It's a fantastic pinch save though by Three-Peat. He's going to try and keep the ball pressure up, but Alpha absorbs the challenge, and he will score to make it a 2-goal game. We have a close ending, folks. And the goal gap opened up to 4. You're wondering, will Alpha be able to close it? Well, he's certainly on track if he can keep scoring at this rate. First, he needs to get the ball under control. Try and get some boost. Early challenge for Alpha, really not effective at all. Three-Peat makes it 7-4. You know, you can understand the frustration for Alpha here. He's trying to surprise Ferry with an early challenge. As every time he slow plays these low boost versus high boost positions, Three-Peat seems to find a way to get the ball past him. This looked like it might have been one of those times where Alpha just has to try and hang on with low boost. A minute left. Good power slide turn by Alpha to keep Ferry away, and he will get the flick as well. That's beautifully done on the turn by Alpha. The turn, the flick, or the turn, the first touch, and the flick all had to be perfect to get the ball past Ferry in that play, because any moments wasted is a moment where Three-Peat is getting closer and you're not hitting the ball over his head. Another low boost play for Alpha incoming. Could he have grabbed the mid boost? Never know, but Three-Peat this time has failed to score, and Alpha will grab the 100 boost in the corner and get another chance to score. What's it going to be? More bump plays for Alpha. No, an early challenge for Ferry shuts down that option. Ferry's just annoying Alpha at this point. Alpha knows he can't challenge any aerial play there, but hold on, the ball is too fast for Ferry to catch up with. And we have a 1-goal game. Alpha still on the comeback trail. Half flip challenge coming in clutch. 21 seconds left for Alpha54. The kickoff this time does go in his favour. He's tripped up Ferry. He's got the 100 boost grabbed. The first touch is a good one. Into the air he goes, but it's a heavy first touch. Although he's been scoring with these air dribbles, this one will not work out. Three-Peat gets the challenge in and opens the gap up to 2 again. If that was going to be the way that Alpha equalized, it would have looked super scripted. But it just didn't work out for Alpha. The first touch was too heavy. He couldn't catch up to the ball after he started his aerial touch. Never mind overtake it. Three-Peat easily saves it, puts in the open net, and a kickoff goal locks in the series. That was just another day in the office for Ferry. You know, you could take him to game 5. You can put him on the back foot. But at the end of the day, he still comes out with a W. GG. So Alpha54 looking clean in the ones arena. Very, very clean. He'll have to wait for another day to get his full revenge on Three-Peat. Definitely done him a couple more bruises this time than the last time that they played. And the most I've seen Three-Peat have to sweat in a series since Manfield Life 5K Grand Final, I would say.